Lupin declared its Q1 numbers, and numbers on the face of it are really not looking that great, and especially when you compare it with some of the other pharma companies that have declared so far, the likes of Dr. Reddy's, some of the other mid-cap, large-cap companies. It's particularly not looking that great in terms of numbers. So let's start and divide the business into two parts. One is US and one is, of course, the India business. US business came in very weak, $50 million in terms of a decline on a quarter-on-quarter basis in their revenue. $157 million is what they have done. So it's not a great number. They had some recalls, they had some issues with some of the drug in gaining market share, and maybe that impacted. Solosec is a drug which is always talked about when you talk about Lupin. They did not gain market share, or the sales over there also declined on a quarter-on-quarter basis. That came in as a negative. Now, when you talk about Lupin's India business, they have a largely chronic diabetes sort of therapy drugs that they have. And when you talk about that, it broadly was, a category that has done better versus some of the other categories at this point of time, and that's why the sales were largely flattish. On the other hand, they did get some savings coming in from the lockdown, so their OPEX and CAPEX came down quite significantly. R&D spend was broadly in line with what they do. However, initially they would have faced some issues over there as well because of the lockdown. Then when you talk about the overall selling expenses, that came down, which of course did have an impact as far as the margins of the company are concerned on a positive side. However, that is something which was visible from some of the other companies as well, and that's why maybe the street may not take too much note of that particular number. Now, Nilesh Gupta said that it's a resilient sort of a performance that they have given. They expect that this margin gains that they have got should sustain. They are trying their best to go ahead and see this. However, for them, employee safety, what's happening with COVID will be one of the key things or key priorities as far as Lupin continues. Overall, not that great quarter considering that other pharma companies are doing very well, but it was an abnormal quarter as well, because you have lockdown at one end, what's happening with the India business, what's happening with the US business, all of it requires some sort of explanation. Now, one of the key drugs, Albuterol, is something which even Lupin has applied for. They have said that they are likely to get the approval in Q2, which is the current quarter that is going on. So after the results, when the management will be speaking in, what essentially they tell about Albuterol is something to watch out for. Remember, Cipla has already got Albuterol within their portfolio now, so they are gaining market share. So the delay that happens will actually have an impact as far as the numbers of Lupin are concerned. Just to give you some perspective, ProAir or Albuterol, however you want to call it, is about 10 to 12% of EPS for Lupin's estimate for the current financial year. So that's why it becomes a very, very important drug or very, very important approval when you talk about Lupin. Now, some of their key facilities are slightly under the US FDA issue. So any update on that front? What are the remedial measures that they are taking? Any cost relation to that which can come in the next few quarters is something that one would watch out, one would overall watch out for.